Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. Right now, I am actually at the park, right? It was raining. I'm outside. This is a live recording. And I'm outside. So I'm going to apologize in advance for any weird background noises, anything that's like out of order or out of place. But I will tell you all the sounds of nature are authentic, okay? That's not none of this YouTube black screen stuff right now. All right? These are real these are real sounds of nature. All right? Get into it. Now, the topic is about free energy. Now, when you go into thermodynamics and chemistry and all these different fields in science, you'll see that there's a slight variation in the definition. But for the most part, the definition is pretty much the same, right? But when it comes to spirituality, this has a lot to do with the atmosphere, the cosmos, and how spirits tend to freely roam around and how portals become accessible to anyone, anywhere, at any time, right? Now, I was with the creator. I was actually working out. This is one of my forms, I should say, that I use to release and engage and dialogue and just how I interact with the creator, right? Praying and fasting is one of those things, and another is pretty much just, when I work out, right? That's most of the time I'm out in nature when I'm working out. And he's like, free energy. Now, I know this is gonna sound strange, but just hear me out, right? When this free energy becomes accessible, it is accessible to, like I said, anything, anyone, anywhere, right? And this is due to portals being open. Now, the thing is, this energy is related to numerical digits, right? As far as dates, times, locations. And when I say locations, I mean if I give you a set of coordinates, you'll be able to access it. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Like the Niagara Falls, or it's another place. What is it? I forget, but it's like out west, right, where everybody goes and they go missing. Like, that's one of those spots where the portals are always available, right? This is free energy. Now, I'm not saying always as in anytime. I'm saying at this particular location you can access free energy, or on this particular day, or at this particular time, right? Of course, your birth chart also sits on a particular axis, and it allots you the opportunity to gain access to energy, probably a little more than others. I know people like Scorpios, Aries. There are a few zodiac signs that have a little bit more access to the free energy than other zodiac signs, and it's because of the planet that's associated with those signs, right? Now, when you look over into science and you go into chemistry and all these different, fields of study, you'll see that free energy is basically related to, because there's multiple definitions, right? But in thermodynamics, it's energy-like property or state of function of a system, right? In thermodynamic equilibrium, free energy has the dimensions of energy, and its value is determined by the state of the system and not by its history. So this energy is frequently being updated and rebooted. It's not the same free energy from the last cycle or the last time this energy had been erupted or come to the forefront. Now, why this is important is because during these times the attacks are raised, right? Also, free energy is referring to the amount of energy available during a chemical reaction to do cellular work. Okay? So again, there is more than one field that goes into free energy, and depending on which lens you're observing this through, you're going to get a different definition. But when you hone in on spirituality, it's similar, it's very similar, but it's different, right? So if you put the definition that you have in front of you in mind, and then you relate that over to spirituality, because remember, a lot of this stuff in the spiritual field has yet to be touched, right? A lot of it is mistaken for mental issues, physical issues, just your health, right? A lot of these instances don't have a term, so they're not being clearly defined. There's a lot of different factors that go into spirituality that make it really, really hard for us to understand it in its totality, right? So we kind of just put these labels on it because it's a little easier to understand it and deal with it, not realizing that we're still not understanding it, right? For what it is. Like, we put our own spin on it, and then we give it a name because that's the only thing that we can come up with in that moment, because we're not committing enough energy and time to understand it as it should be understood. So when you're thinking about free energy, you need to understand that, number one, this energy is free, meaning it's available to anyone, right? Now, we said this, it's accessible to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Now, think about being a spirit that is roaming, trying to attack you. Okay, now wait, let me back up. Let's get to the good part first, all right? Let me give you the good news first. The good news is that with this energy, you can multiply your creation. You can become more spiritually aware and grounded. You can basically tap into your gifts, and they will become a little more powerful, a lot more powerful, depending on your level of consciousness, your ability to shapeshift, and your ability to follow through with whatever it is that, you know, you're attempting to gain leverage on or with, right? But then when you start paying attention to the things that are directly correlated to your soul's journey and purpose, you're either going to have like this tug of war, like you're constantly going to find yourself fighting and battling over the things that you know the creator said is yours, or it's just going to be a smooth sail, right? Not really too much in between, okay? Now, this is important because the energy is generated by the creator. The creator allows us to have this energy to use at our disposal. Now, I like to look at it as like party time, right? We have this idea or this thing that we want to do. Maybe you're too tired, and then all of a sudden you get like this burst of energy out of nowhere, and you're like, oh. And it may be like 2 or 3 in the morning, it may be 5 in the morning, it may be 5 in the evening, right? It all depends on where you are geographically, where you are in your spiritual journey, what's in your birth chart. The date and the time is also a factor. Now, the reason why this can be problematic is because the same energy is used by demonic forces and entities to shapeshift also and begin their attacks. A lot of people may, look at this as, I'm really good. I'm spiritually aware enough to be able to identify when attacks are coming through. And that may be very well. Some people can differentiate between a regular everyday life problem and a spiritual attack. But for those who cannot, you want to be able to understand that the energy and the strength of these forces are multiplied with the use of this free energy. So how we combat that is also using that extra energy that we have to not only strengthen our relationship with the Creator, to not only strengthen our relationship with the universe, but to strengthen our relationship with ourselves and with our family, because the bloodline is ultimately the thing that's going to be under attack. Okay? Like, if you don't figure out anything else, if you don't, and I'm not saying figure it out like you don't know, I'm saying if you don't do, like, I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. If you don't do anything else, you need to know that this energy is strong. Okay? This is some strong energy, and you have to be willing to open yourself up to all of the gifts that the Creator has for you, and maybe you can come across a new gift with the use of this energy. And this is, of course, if you're using the energy properly, right? Not if you are out here using your free energy to drink and smoke and, bullshit around, because that will actually start to spill over into the energy that you are given to create, right? Because the universe will deliberately give you an assignment. God will deliberately allow certain things to happen, and then at a certain time frame, if you are spiritually aware, then you'll notice, like, okay, I can feel a shift, something's changing, this is crunch time, I need to hurry up and get on this. Like, you'll start to feel an urgency, if you will, in your spirit, and more than likely, whether you're chosen, anointed or not, your instincts will tell you that it's time to start making changes. Like, there will be a demand for you to start making some sort of change, even if it's small, right? Even if it's not going out every weekend, even if it's smoking less, drinking less, not being around certain people, not wearing certain things, not watching or listening to certain things, not going certain places, right? It's going to vary for each of us, but the overall gist of this is to hone in on, what God is instructing us to do. We have these really, really strong urges that are related to our purpose, right? Like, God will give us an instinct that He just gave us to operate in the world, and then there's an instinct that's related to your journey and your purpose and your bloodline and everything that's connected to you ascending, right? It's all connected, but there's like two, like left brain, right brain, right? And that's a whole nother conversation. But it's important for us to understand that to be in alignment is to understand that your journey, your purpose is connected to other things, other people, and other places. And we always talk about, how we need to start really learning what we're connected to. It's not always about money. And sometimes a lot of the things that you're connected to, you can't identify. It's not something that you're familiar with, right? So this is where your understanding, your desire to learn, and just your overall ability to be obedient comes in. Like, if you can understand what it is God wants you to do, and then you're tapping in and He's like, go left, and then you look left and it's like, but I can't swim, and that's the ocean, and He's like, go left, and you're like, but wait, I can't swim, and that's the ocean, and He's like, but go left. You don't have to see what's ahead. You just have to trust that God is going to take care of you. And again, within your ability to operate, because God's not going to set you up for failure. He's going to make sure, you have all your tools in your knapsack before He sends you out, right? But I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I do hope all is well. And, I hope y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Look into that free energy thing, though. Like, try to get an understanding of it from, like, a science standpoint, and then you'll understand it a little better from the spiritual aspect of it. All right, but I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I hope all is well. I hope y'all been drinking y'all water, eating y'all fruit and vegetables, and sipping on y'all own tea because it's free. And yes, them kids went back to school, huh? All right. Love y'all. Have a good weekend. Peace.